Gavin.
Wesley, here we are.
How you doing, man? That
Doing
energy
good.
drink work for you?
Oh yeah, got me all fired up and ready to go.
Y'all know Gavin is a big monster, a pink monster. It's very
gotta be.
specific.
I think it's like the ultimate strawberry dream or something, dude.
Yeah.
It is amazing. It's a good drink.
And he's getting big on the small ones because too much
Yeah.
caffeine for
Only
the bigger
110
bottles.
milligrams of caffeine. It's nice and easy.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't give you a jolt of energy and doesn't make you crash. So it's
Yeah.
like, hey, no complaints there. And there's zero sugar, so they're
Exactly.
healthy for you.
Yeah. Healthy.
Healthy, we'll go with that.
Yeah. Well, we needed the energy drink, so we just came back from building a fence for a guy in our church. We like to say we're giving to somebody that's can't help themselves because he just tore his ACL like
Yeah.
Gavin. So
Yeah, we're all in the same boat. but-
exactly. But here we are. We wanted to record this podcast. I think it's an important topic for us. I think
Yeah.
we're preaching to ourselves, kind of speaking to ourselves in this
Absolutely.
podcast the most, I would think. But it's just interesting kind of looking at it, I think, for both of us, just seeing kind of really what is wrapped around our heads and kind of
Yeah.
being more mindful of the situation and kind of culture we're in, just being up against it and being more aware.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is, I know me and Wesley, last night we were talking about it and talking about how we want to start to say these things, but it's forcing us to come into areas of our lives that we're like, man, I really didn't want to touch on that.
Yeah.
It's not something that I was looking forward to talking about, but now that we're talking about it, it's like, okay, now it's time to, it's almost kind of like, you know, what they
Yeah.
used to say, preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
So, and then,
Well, it's kind of like the concept, too, in a way of kind of manifesting your goals and dreams. If you say it more to yourself, and really, even if you say it once, it could lead to you saying it more, and just kind of speaking out loud to yourself makes you probably way more likely to do it than if you just do it in your mind. You're like, oh, that's a good idea, and it blows away. You know what I mean?
yeah, because it goes back to the perseverance thing. Even tonight, me and you were just trying to figure out this week, man, it's a crazy week. Where are we going to find time to do this? And it just
Yeah.
came to the point of, we just got to do this. Let's go sit down. We'll record real quick.
Mhm.
You know, knock this thing out because this week is crazy for both of us.
Yeah.
So it comes back to the perseverance thing of, we've said we're going to do it. Now let's do it.
Let's do it. And I think it's an important topic to cover. So I think tonight, the topic at hand kind of ties into last week, kind of in a sequence, not really a series, but it kind of goes step to step to step of, you know, everything kind of tying together. And this week is really, the title that we have is Setting Boundaries to Avoid Distractions. So last week we talked about purpose and how there's goals towards your purpose. And if you're not kind of setting boundaries for your distractions, the distractions are going to keep you off centered from your purpose and get you off track. So
Yeah, I think that the big thing, especially being young guys, both being very entrepreneurial driven, both being in long relationships, both being active in the church, both being active in everything, being just active people all around, creates a lot of room for distractions.
yeah.
So even last night when me and Wesley were talking about this episode, it just got to the point to where we were both, hey, we just got to sit down and just talk about this. And that's all that it came down to is, let's put our phones away. Of course, let's do our research, but let's put our phones away. Let's use the computer for only research purposes. And let's sit down, not taking notes on the phone. Let's get back to good old pen and paper. You don't have notifications popping up on the,
Yeah.
you know, the paper. You don't have notifications popping up anywhere.
Especially
here.
after all the college playoff
I know. It's
committee.
craziness.
Just talk about a distracting day.
Oh,
that
a
can really get you
whirlwind of
off.
stuff.
Oh my word! One thing after another. Facebook was alive. Well, that's really the only thing. I'm sure Instagram and everything else was too. But talking about distractions, I mean, that's one of the things that Gavin and I, we try to cut back on. I know Gavin was talking about yesterday that he deleted TikTok, which TikTok's the main thing. He's always on scrolling, kind of mindlessly scrolling. I've deleted Instagram and the other stuff that I used to scroll on a lot, even YouTube. The only thing I do have is Facebook, and that's more of a tough thing because I run most of my business through Facebook, so it's trying to find that balance of, okay, there are distracting things, but it's kind of seeing the cues and not falling into place. But tonight, kind of segueing into this and more kind of gearing us to what we're up against with distractions, I think it's fitting just to talk about what the culture looks like for us. I would like to say we probably are in the most distracting times probably in world history. Obviously with cell phones, with wide range social media, with internet, with news, everything is in your at the touch of your fingertips. You can find any information in a matter of seconds. So it's a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing if you don't look to it. So let's go, and if you want to kind of look at the stats that we were looking at with kind of how that leads up and what we're looking at with our culture.
Yeah, one of the big things that me and Wesley kind of took a marketing class here at the college, and one of the crazy things that we learned, that really I kind of knew it, but it was one of those things where it was shocking once you really sat down and thought about what this means. But the fact that companies have whole sections, whole networks within their company studying you and studying your habits to figure out how to sell to you and how to distract you. I know even with Facebook, we've got dogs, we play sports, we do stuff like that, but seeing that I talk about a sport and then the next day I'm getting notifications pop on my phone saying, hey, this may interest you.
It's not a coincidence.
It is not.
It is not a coincidence. They're listening in on us.
They are, and I knew a lady that worked for Facebook, and they said that they got it down so well that they could see where you were in your house and where you picked up the phone the most in your house, and they would purposely send a notification when you were in that spot because they knew that that's when you were most likely to pick up your phone.
Oh yeah.
Which is terrifying.
Absolutely.
When you really sit down and think about that. They know where in your house you are when you pick up your phone, whether that be in your bedroom, whether that be before you go to bed, whether that be the kitchen, anything. They just know.
Oh yeah, and through that info, I mean, for all we know, there's wide range databases to where all this info is being sold to other companies, and that's why I have no clue how all of that's tied in. I know we were writing down like some of the main stuff that you can see is like, you look at Super Bowl ads, you look at any sponsored ads on Instagram, Facebook, this is all stuff that they have studied down to a T, that, the humor behind things is obviously funny, but to where they pay a lot of money for, I don't know if it's comedians or just really good marketing teams to come in, but everything is a science and is an art to kind of figure out what is the best way. Basically I've got 3 seconds. If it's 3 seconds, I've got 3 seconds to grab somebody's attention, and if I don't in 3 seconds, they're lost. We lost money on them, on to the next person type thing.
I think it's a big thing nowadays too, that I think it was you that was telling me about it, but the average person has a shorter attention span than a goldfish.
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. And if you really think about it, TikTok and these reels and Instagram reels, Facebook reels, YouTube shorts, TikTok has really done that. Where before it used to be, okay, when you're flipping through the TV channel, you're flipping through seeing what stuff's about, okay, you've got 10, 15, 20 seconds to make a decision about what you want to watch.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays, the average TikTok's, 10 seconds? 15 seconds? So now you have gone from 15 to 20 seconds of attention span down to 3 seconds. So it's like you just said, you have 3 seconds to catch somebody's attention. And if you think that people aren't trying to get your attention, look at how much people pay for Super Bowl ads.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Super Bowl ads are millions of dollars, and that's just to get a spot. That's not how much they paid to create the ad.
Yeah.
How much they actually paid to.
I believe it says like around 8 to 10 million for a 30-second ad. Isn't it something like that?
Something insane.
Yeah, and we don't want to just quote these numbers, but that's what I'm pretty sure it is around. It's millions of dollars, needless to say, in a 30-second ad, even a 15-second ad. So but for them it's worth it. That's the most viewers. Obviously Super Bowl is one of the biggest viewed kind of games, even events through the whole year in the whole world. So that's a lot of opportunity for these big companies. But I think what's a cool documentary, if you haven't seen it, is The Social Dilemma.
Absolutely.
And this, we won't go into it too much because it is just so much to break down, but it is just very eye-opening about social media and how really the whole networking happens behind it, and kind of breaks down what they do. But a really cool quote from that is, if these companies don't market and say what the product is, then you are the product, which is really mind-blowing. And it really makes sense if you do break it down. But basically they make more money off the clicks that we go look on something, all these ads, it's all just information. It's all kind of just buying our attention and